So just settle into your body. Shoulders are aligned with the hips and the ears aligned with the shoulders. And just imagine your spine is this beautiful string of pearls of light that stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. Just putting some space in between your vertebrae, just lengthening the spine. Bring your attention to the breath. Notice the sensation of the air as you inhale and exhale. Be aware of any sounds in your environment. You know, there may be just the usual sounds in your home, people moving around, pets, this kind of thing. You just allow all of those sounds to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And then just notice what's actually going on in your mind. Trying to put some space in between the thoughts. And just allow the thoughts to arise and to abide. And then just notice them dissipate. So they won't dissipate if you engage your mind. And I guess that's okay if the thoughts are virtuous, but if they're rumination, self-criticism, projecting into the future about a story and then getting emotional about it, that is not necessarily going to serve you quite so well. So just take a step back and look objectively at what's there. And just maybe release those things that aren't particularly serving you. And even you can say that word with the exhale. And this is one of the techniques that they mention in the FPMT has this introduction to mindfulness course that's been written by one of the education team. And he talked about this one particular technique. So as you inhale, you're just thinking of all the things that maybe don't necessarily serve you, and then just say the word release on the exhale to yourself. So it's another way of dealing with this engagement in negative self-talk. So then bring to mind all the people of your life, so your loved ones, the ones that you don't like so much, and your strangers, and just imagine they can all and probably have in your lifetime change place at any time. And they're all equal in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for this enlightened mind. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. And I'm thinking particularly of this little group down there at Vajrapani Institute tonight, as they're moving into the second day of their first noon. So imagine there is no negativity that can't be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, And having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience. We know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we kind of think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And then think also regret all our delusions. So this is like our anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. Or as, Yangtze Rinpoche talked when he came here to San Francisco, to, almost like a healing process. So sometimes I feel like this word purification implies done something bad, need to purify it. And that's one way of looking at it for sure. But I also think maybe a gentler way is to think about we're healing ourselves. We're relying upon Vajrasattva in the same way that we rely upon a doctor. And we're using the mantra and the visualization as medicine. It's medicine for our heart and our mind. Okay, so imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And you can imagine he's made of this radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and just have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And so now we come to the power of the remedy, and we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar. You can imagine it's almost like coming out of a hose, your shower head. One of our teachers, Venerable Renee, talks about Vajrasattva practice being like taking a shower. And then also you can imagine the force of something like maybe Niagara Falls, or maybe you have a waterfall near you and you can just imagine standing underneath it. So just it comes very forcefully from his heart and enters your crown and pours into your entire body and fills you completely, and just keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forces up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mipi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Karuhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mipi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Karuhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahom Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. Next is a purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you just imagine, you try this, go into a room and that's dark and flick on the switch and try flipping the mind to think you're dispelling darkness rather than turning on the light. And then imagine, so now we imagine that from Vajrasattva's heart, light comes and it pours into your heart and instantly dispels, the moment it hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind. So all your attachment and neediness and anger and depression, anxiety, resentment, jealousy, bitterness, grudges, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsasawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahompe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, and think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. So here we're working at a little bit more subtle level. So imagine Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, fills you completely, and eradicates even these subtlest imprints of energy. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dira Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatta Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Humpe. So now feel you're completely purified, and just imagine there's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve. This is the fourth and final step in the purification process. It's really crucial because we need to make a decision before we do anything. So we decide, I want to refrain from harming. That's the least we can do. And I want to, first of all, refrain from deliberately harming and then from unintentionally harming. So as our awareness increases, our awareness of what's going on inside our minds, the unintentional harm, we won't be kind of doing those actions, saying those things, thinking those things. It's just a process. It takes a while. And so we rejoice in the efforts that we are making, the progress that we have made. Lamsa Rinpoche's sister always used to talk. I walked a long walk with her one day from Laudo Gompa, which is, the place of Lamsa Rinpoche's previous incarnation. We walked from there over to Tame, which was quite a long walk. And Rinpoche's sister would say, don't look up the mountain, look from where you've come. That's what the Sherpas will say up in the mountains. They talk about looking down the mountain to see how far they've come. And that's encouraging. She said, if you look up the mountain, it gets difficult. Anyway, so think like that. Look at how far you've come. Fantastic. Just rejoice. And then think of something you want to work on between now and tomorrow. And imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us, wants to merge with our mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you. And think my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And then just a little bit on emptiness. So we can just think of all phenomena are empty. They don't exist from their own side. Just simple like that. Keep it simple. And then you can just sort of think the way things appear to me might not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's do some of our verses for reciting the names of Manjushri. Upholding great observances, head shaven, the foremost of observances, chaste student, with great austerities, perfected fully. He is the greatest bather, Gautama. A Brahman, knower of Brahman, arrival in full at Brahman Nirvana, awakening its branches, liberation, release, complete tranquility, quiescence. Nirvana, peacefulness, tranquility, approaching graceful entry to Nirvana, the culmination ending pain and pleasure, the state devoid of passion, free from substrates. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy, and think about His Holiness the Dalai Lama living long, then the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's unmistaken reincarnation, and then all of your own precious teachers. And that I'm thinking, Marion, I don't know if you're going to be there tomorrow morning, but perhaps we could do Chenrezig meditation for you as we send you off to the hot noonday, and wishing you all well and all the very best. We'll all be thinking of you. And Marion, just a word before. Venerable Angie says, bring some water to drink on the drinking day. They don't have very good water down there, she said. So bring yourself some nice clean water. All right, everybody, lots of love. I'll see you tomorrow morning. For those of us here in the West Coast, it's 6:30 a.m. if you can make it. And look forward to it. We'll do Chenrezig. Om Mani Padme Hum. Okay, bye, everyone. Thank you.